Today, we're going to do a special episode. We are going to do something a little different than like our fantasy draft episodes and our like ranking episodes. Cullen and I, we were thinking about, what other type of episodes could we do this year? And I'm a fan of My Favorite Murder. I like occasionally. I wouldn't say I'm like one of those people that listens to every episode, but every now and then I listen to a little My Favorite Murder. And one of the things I've always liked about My Favorite Murder is they can talk about pretty much any random murder crime thing to ever happen. And it can be super engaging. Like, even if it seems like the most mundane murder you've ever heard, they can make it sound so much fun and entertaining. Well, maybe not fun, but like, I don't know. Maybe some people have been inspired to murder people because of that show. But anyway, it is entertaining and it is informative, and I think they do a good job of it. And so Cullen and I were thinking, like, what's a version of that we could do? And so we were like, well, let's share stories or share about different bands, and we can just kind of pick a theme that works. And so we were like, let's invite some friends to do that. So this particular episode, we're going to do bands with the craziest lore. So not necessarily Christian bands or anything, just bands, maybe the more obscure, the better, but bands that just have crazy lore. So stories about them that might be true or might not be true, but they're about the band or something associated with the band. So for example, something like, Ozzy Osbourne when he was in Black Sabbath, biting the head off of a bat and then like eating it or whatever, right?
Actually,
something like
he
that.
was
That's
not
crazy
in
lore.
Black Sabbath yet at that time, but yeah, no, you're right.
He wasn't?
No, I think it was solo. Yeah.
That was a solo career.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm just joking.
Well,
But
never
no, you're
mind
right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the kind of story we're talking about. So bands that have lots of stories, maybe, they're crazy like that. So we invited a few friends of ours. So we've got Jeremy from the Rumors Are True podcast, one of the better podcasts out there. We've got Daniel Terry, who does incredible YouTube music stuff. And then Kylan from Church Jams Now. So each one of you guys want to just, say hi so people recognize your voice?
Nope. I'm good.
Oh.
Hey, everyone. This is Kylan. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited. You're very welcome.
Hey, I'm Dan. Thanks for having me on. I'm honored, guys.
This is Jeremy. Thank you, guys. Good to be back. Good to hang out. Nice to meet you, Kylan. I hadn't met you yet, so.
I know. Same.
So I heard you talking shit on your podcast about me. Just kidding.
Yep. That's what we do.
Ooh.
That's what we do.
James Duke action, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully we can be the conflict.
We're here to clear the air.
No, he had nothing but good things to say. I kid.
Conflicts are good. Conflicts are good for views, man.
That's
amazing.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
Our most watched episode ever was, and probably most listened to episode ever was me talking, Cullen and I talking to, what's his name, from John
Cooper.
Skillet.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
nice.
It was just conflict for most of it. So
Yeah.
it felt like actually decent conflict. Like we
It
were
was-
like,
it was-
Yeah, it was fine. You guys were.
It was healthy conflict.
It felt very professional.
Productive.
It wasn't like-
Productive.
Yeah.
he was very different than what some of the things he has said on stage.
That's
so.
very true.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think Skillet's going to be one of the bands with the craziest lore, although,
don't think
maybe
so.
they're up there. I will say what's interesting, all of us grew up in the Christian music scene. None of us picked Me Without You. I think that's maybe worth mentioning at the top.
That's so funny.
and-
I didn't pick him because I
Yeah.
thought you were going to pick him.
You can take them now, dude.
I think we also were trying to avoid bands and artists that have already, their stories have already been shared a whole bunch.
Quite a bit, yeah.
Because otherwise, we would have said Fleetwood Mac, Ozzy Osbourne, Me Without You, something
Michael
like that.
Tate.
Michael Tate. Yeah.
Oh,
His story's not yet over as far as we know. So we're trying to pick things that are maybe a little bit more out of left field, but are still extremely interesting.
Totally.
Yeah,
So, in which there are no shortage of bands that have that. So,
that's right.
well, let's just get into it. Is there anybody who wants to go first?
Kylan's chopping at the bit, I can tell.
I can.
His app
You
is
guys
not
know.
focused, which means that his app is he's definitely looking up something.
I'm
right
looking. I'm pulling up my notes. Do you guys want me to go first?
Yeah, man. Let's have.
Yeah, if you want
let's
to.
have you go first.
All right. Cool.
now. The first shall be
So-
first.
Yeah. So I was thinking Me Without You. I was thinking DC Talk. And then I remembered having a conversation a few years ago and doing as much of a deep dive as I could on the All Saved Freak Band. Do you guys know who the All Saved Freak
I've never heard of them.
is?
Never heard of them ever.
This is new, yeah.
Okay, so they, in a lot of ways, are like they're right there with like Larry Norman. They're like they started in like 1968. They were only around for about 10 years, but they were sort of pioneers in the CCM like Christian rock movement. They only came out with a couple albums. But I remember finding them because I thought it was very funny. Their second album is called For Christians, Elves, and Lovers,
Whoa.
That's kind of incredible.
which is it's just a great start, right? And it
It
mixes
sounds like,
like
it sounds like a Tolkien book.
that's what I was gonna say. There's actually a copy of it in like a Tolkien museum
No
because it
way.
mixes like theological like hymn type stuff with Tolkien
That's cool.
references.
Oh,
But-
damn! This is like right up Cullen's alley.
it is.
Also, I love the fact that like Christians and lovers are two different categories, as if they like can't be the same.
Right,
Just-
yeah,
just
yeah.
saying.
With elves right in the middle. It's
Yeah,
like,
it-
what's,
I-
what's
yeah,
the
I
Venn
love-
diagram of Christians and lovers?
The
at
Trinity.
The elves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A trinity of fantastical and unreliable
Yeah.
things.
Okay. But here's the deal about All Saved Freak Band. They were a cult.
Ooh.
They
Hell
were
yeah.
Naughty.
straight
So
up a
naughty.
they're
Talking about.
straight up a cult, guys. So yeah, it started out. There's this guy, Larry Hill, that he gathered a bunch of people in like a Christian commune in Ohio. And honestly, for everything I've figured out, he really didn't have that much to do with the band. Like he's credited on all the albums as keys and arrangement, but he didn't sing. He didn't really play guitar, and it's like a rock band mostly. But they had like 12 members.
Whoa.
It's interesting that the cult. You said he's like kind of the cult leader, right?
Yeah.
That's like to me, cult leader would for sure like have lead singer syndrome. So the fact that he's like just you know,
Right.
playing in the background as keys seems like the opposite of lead singer
That
syndrome.
is interesting.
No, for sure.
Maybe he
Was the
sucks.
band?
You know
That's
what
what
I
I
mean?
think. I think that. I mean, I'm guessing.
So did they have like similar commercial success as like someone like Bebo Norman? Or something
No,
like that?
so the thing is, yeah, no, they were fully independent. They were like essentially the first like Christian indie act. Like they paid for everything themselves. They toured. They played like they played at the Olympics.
Whoa.
What?
At some
What?
point in the
Okay.
70s. Yeah. They had like some weird, like randomly like weird stuff. Like
It's a
like
big get
randomly
for a
some like
Christian rock band.
Yeah, I'd say.
right. Phil Kagi played with
Whoa.
them briefly.
What?
Yeah. But okay, so just some highlights of some of the crazier things. Their lead guitarist Glenn Schwartz. He's actually really. If you guys listen to their music, he's the best in the band by far. He was one of the Kent 25. He was one of the
Whoa.
protesters at Kent State
Interesting.
Whoa.
that like
Oh,
actually
wow.
got
Interesting.
yeah. So he's part of that. Two of their members died before their first album came out. But okay,
From
here's
what?
where it gets
Just
okay,
like
car accidents. Two separate car accidents where different people fell asleep while
What?
driving.
oh my god.
Oh no, those sound more
What?
like car accidents in quotes.
Yeah,
right?
Cult leader.
It happening once, it's a tragedy. Twice, it's like, yeah,
I
those guys were
know.
gonna defect. Yeah.
But okay, here's the craziest thing. The co-founder and guitarist, Joe Marco, I think he was most of the creative force behind the band. But he had a day job. So everyone on this commune, they either like worked the farm, or hitchhiked into town to work like odd jobs and stuff. So he was working at a factory, and he was working. I don't know exactly what he was doing, but he got into an accident, and it was 27,000 volts of electricity
what?
spread through his body, burned 50% of his body, essentially burned his hands to where he couldn't use them anymore. Apparently, according to a newspaper article I saw too, it burned a hole through his heart or through his chest where you could see his heart.
What?
Dude,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
metal.
Like
Yeah.
like there was literally just a hole in his chest.
Yeah,
where
and you could
just
see his heart
Weird.
beating. Yeah, yeah.
Wow. He had a
This
God-shaped
is like
hole.
alleged. Like this is according to him, or
What
It was
that,
great.
Dan?
So he actually he was in the hospital when their second album was released, and so but he ended up writing all the music for the next two albums or for the next album. But I just thought that was crazy. That it's like
What did they sound like? I know you said Larry Norman, but is it
that's what's interesting. So I mean, it's very like
hippie?
late 60s, early 70s hippie. Like for Christians, Elves, and Lovers is like straight up just hippie music.
So
their
hippie,
next
hippie
album,
music means a lot of things. So is it like Pete Seeger kind of like
No, it's
hippie
like
folk
it's like
or
it's like it very like Baroque, like maybe some harpsichord,
Oh,
some
what?
like weird esoteric instruments.
okay?
and
So it's like
stuff,
psychedelic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say it leans. But their other albums, the one after, which I'm going to talk about in just a second, is a lot more blues focused. Like incredible blues lick. Like the guitar work on it is insane.
So they
Like,
started listening
really
to
good.
like Eric Clapton and stuff like that. Is what you're saying?
I'm guessing. I don't know if they were allowed to. But okay. But here's what's crazy. Glenn Schwartz, lead guitarist. After their second album came out, Glenn Schwartz, his family paid Ted Patrick. I don't know if you guys know who Ted Patrick is,
No.
but he was he was famous in the 70s and 80s as a cult deprogrammer. Like he
okay,
would
yeah.
go around the country like helping. So they actually straight up just kidnapped Glenn Schwartz back to try to deprogram him from this cult. And it didn't work. And he went back to the cult, and their next album is called Brainwashed.
Ooh.
Wow.
Of course it is. Okay,
This is getting really meta.
Can we
yeah.
kind of dig in here? What made them so culty? So just because they're like in a commune doesn't necessarily mean they're a cult. So like what?
No, okay, yeah. So that's what I tried to figure out because I couldn't figure out much about it. But then I started reading. There's a couple articles. There's an interview. There's an interview with Joe Marco in some like blog from like 12 years ago that spoke a little bit of this. And then there was a Guardian article. And so basically this guy, Larry Hill, like right after that like first album, he started basically being like so like saying that there would be a communist basically China and Russia and Cuba were the Antichrist, and he was one of the few prophets, and then maybe he was God.
So maybe he was
And
right.
Hadn't
because-
decided yet. Yeah.
because it's 2026 and it's kind of looking like that.
I mean, I know a couple other countries that are a little more Antichrist than some of those right now. Yeah, well, okay. So then the band essentially breaks up because this main guy, his wife, beat an 11-year-old child at the commune with a horsewhip.
Oh my.
And half of the band, or the rest of the band, basically was like, "Oh, hey, that's too much." Even though they apparently also were getting beaten with horsewhips, but something about this like child's
Trauma.
being beat like made them, that was like their heart out. And then he still had the rights to the music, and so the band basically they all kind of broke up. But then in 2006 they all got back together and sued him to get the rights to their music back, which is kind of cool. And they're all like
Wow.
friends again, except for this cool guy who's still like alive,
Really?
like, living in Ohio.
Let's get him on the
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah. Call him up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ohio. So he's just trying to blend in, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Show us the whole. Yeah.
It's the whole. Don't take that one out of context.
Yeah. Clip that.
Yeah,
right there.
exactly. But yeah, so what started out for me as like, oh, I think it's very funny. There's an album called For Christians, Elves, and Lovers. Ended up this absolutely like fascinating deep dive into like one of the pioneers of Christian rock music that I do think everyone should listen to Brainwash. Like the music is really good.
Interesting.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
is fascinating.
Yeah, I've never even heard
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was my pick.
How
I
did
don't
you
really
hear?
have
How
much
did you
else.
hear about it?
Yeah. How did you pick up on it?
My wife's cousin's husband was telling me about them a couple years ago because we talk about music, and he's like a pastor's kid, and I guess like he was turned on to them because of his dad, maybe. Yeah, but I had never heard of it, and I mean I have the fourth most popular Christian music podcast online, so I thought I was pretty well versed in Christian music, and I had no idea.
I just started following them on
Right.
Spotify as I speak.
Oh, perfect.
Nice. It means
I
you're,
wouldn't have
that
thought
means
that
you're an
even be
honorary
on
cult
Spotify.
member.
Wow.
I think so. I think you're now part of the
I might
cult.
be.
They're going to be sending you shipments of Flavor Aid here soon.
Dude, it's all like stained glass window artwork.
Well, that's the thing. So look up they just put all their stuff up. I think when they got the rights back. I think
Oh.
they just recently put all their stuff up because all of their albums say 2018. The original artwork for all of these is
Oh,
not
I gotcha. They just
what's
I
on
gotcha.
Spotify.
Okay.
Yeah. The original artwor's all way better.
Crazy.
Usually seems to be the way it goes.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
That's intriguing.
That's a
Yeah,
That's
killer,
a really good one.
killer.
I'm gonna go
start
on a
right
deep
there.
dive
All right.
for sure.
Yeah, you should.
Hell yeah.
Everyone should. All
Yeah.
Saved Freak Band, man. Check it out.
Freaking rules.
I love
I
how
got it
freak
bookmarked.
was always the word that they were using.
Yeah.
What a freaking kill the devil.
Jesus freaks. Freaking
Oh,
beat
man.
you with a horsewhip.
That's awesome.
Show me the hole, guys. Show me the hole.
Oh, I love
Show me
it.
that
Show
hole.
me the hole.
That's your first question. Just be like, so how's the hole?
Yeah, yeah.
Is there still a hole in your heart?
Can you finger it?
Yeah.
I just want to see what
I
that
would
looks
be
like.
the doubting Thomas for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, that's a good one. All right, who wants to go next?
That's impossible to follow.
know.
It is. Such a
I
good
can
one.
go next if you guys are ready.
Let's hear it.
All right. So I am doing mine on Fela Kuti. Anyone familiar?
I'm not, and I looked it up when I heard who you were doing because I had never heard of it.
Okay, so Fela Kuti is, unironically, he actually became like one of my most listened to artists probably about 6 years ago. I started getting into it. It's kind of hard to get into because it's kind of like this weird genre that as a white man in America, I don't really feel like I should fit into it, but I'm like obsessed
That
with
was like me listening to Lemonade.
it. Yeah, there you go. So Fela Kuti is a Nigerian man from Lagos. He was born to very well-off Nigerian parents. His father was Reverend Israel Ransom Kuti, and his mother's name was Funmilayo Ransom Kuti. His father was like this devout Christian and really wanted his son, Fela, to follow in the footsteps of like Christian culture, specifically in like Christian activism within or not activism, but evangelism within Africa. But his mother was an extremely devout activist and political activist, specifically around the ideas of like Pan-Africanism and things like that. So like trying to like expel the colonizers and to like retake Black culture within the various tribes and nations of Africa. So Fela gets older and everything like that, and he decides, according to his father's wishes, to become a medical doctor. So his dad sends him off to England, and in England he goes to school for a little while, and things are going fine. He's getting good grades and everything like that. But he's really getting into like the London nightlife and things like that, and falls in love with jazz music and everything. And he had played some music in the past, but he decides to drop out of med school secretly against his father's wishes and decides to go to Trinity College of Music, which is A very, very interesting college. If you look up the history of that whole thing, especially with like the piano there was a piano teacher that was there at the time who was like super against like the common understanding of like Western music for African men in particular that she was teaching. But anyways, he takes up the trumpet and saxophone and piano, and he becomes like this like really, really adept multi-instrumentalist. Okay. So it's the 1950s this time. So he starts his own band called Kula Lobidos, and they're playing something called High Life Jazz, which is kind of like some like African beats, some like rudimentary African beats with kind of like big band kind of sound. So it's a little bit jazzy, but like it's pretty simplistic kind of stuff in comparison to what he'll play later. He then decides he's going to renounce what he considers to be his quote unquote slave name. And so that name of his was Ransom. So it was actually like a colonial name that was given to his father, which was then passed down to him. And so he changes it altogether and he calls himself Antikulapo, which means he who carries death in his pouch, which is pretty badass. And it's basically a symbolic rejection of his colonial identity. So let's move into like where it starts getting like super, super, super interesting here. In 1969, with his band Kula Lobidos, he decides to do a U.S. tour, and they go to L.A. in particular, and they're there for about 10 months. While he's there, he meets a lady by the name of Sandra Isidore, who is a Black Panther activist. And she starts basically integrating the idea of basically like taking back like your Black culture and your Black heritage and everything like that. So she introduces him to Malcolm X and the philosophy of Black nationalism and all this stuff. And it kind of like radicalizes him. And not to mention he's in LA in 1969, the middle of like the most important like political change in American history.
Right.
And this gal, Sandra Isidore, challenges Fela, because Fela's been like playing like music for like the clubs and talking about mundane stuff like soup. And so one day she asks Fela, why are you singing about soup when your people are oppressed? Because what's going on in Nigeria at the time is there's this giant civil war that's going on, and this military junta is taken over. And now it's being run by a military dictator.
But also, why not both?
Right. No, it's absolutely true.
That's what System of a Down decided to do.
Yeah. Terracotta pie, pizza pie. Yeah, all that good stuff. So he gets back to Nigeria because he actually got deported because they didn't have a work visa long enough for the 10-month stay that he was there. And they come back to a completely war-ravaged nation. And in this time, through his like multiple like interbreedings and crossbreedings of all these different genres of music, he creates something called Afrobeat. Afrobeat, if you're familiar, is like this like huge genre today still. And it kind of mixes like, if you can think like jazz, funk, and soul mixed with like these complex African syncopations and polyrhythms and things like that. So it sounds like it's going to be like super, super complicated and everything like that. And really the music is pretty complicated, but it's super, super accessible. And during in 1970, Bootsy Collins, who's like pretty much like the greatest funk player of all time, or the most notable at least, Bootsy Collins saw Fela and his group playing, and he said, they are the funkiest group that have ever existed and ever will exist. So that's like God saying you're better than me.
Order.
It's pretty impressive. Okay, so he gets back to Africa and he completely changes the entire scenery of music in Africa, and he does it through his music, obviously, but he does it not just with the music, but it's like this giant political message. And essentially, what he does is he creates something called the Kalakuta Republic. So he buys this apartment complex in Lagos, which is the largest city in Nigeria. and walls it off. He essentially creates a cult. We have 2 cults
Compound,
already
yeah.
on this episode.
Love it.
He has 60 people living in this cult, in this commune, I should say. It's not, I mean, it's kind of like a pseudo cult because like they're free to go and come whenever they want. And he's not like saying like, you absolutely have to do exactly what I say, but there's definitely like a lot.
Was there any
of
car wrecks?
No, but it's worse than a car wreck. And I'll explain that here. Okay? So in 1977, he releases this album called Zombie. Now, as you can probably imagine, if you're a Pan-Africanist and you are against this like military junta that has taken over your country, you're probably going to be pretty pissed off about it. So he creates this album called Zombie, and his albums are interesting because they're like 2 to 4 songs max, and it takes up 2 full sides of a vinyl record.
Oh, wow.
Like they're like long drawn out songs. And basically what this song is all about is, or this album is all about, is basically calling out these soldiers that are controlled by the military dictator. Calls them out as zombies. Like, you only do what you are told, and that's all that matters to you. And you're not fighting for anything that's good and just or anything like that, but you're fighting for a dictator, and that's not cool. You're oppressing us. And the military doesn't like this. The military leader, I forget his name, General Obasanjo, I believe is his name. He really, really does not like this, and so he sends 1,000 soldiers to the commune. They bust down the gate. They blow up this. So he had like an electric fence kind of at the top with barbed wire. They blow up the generator. The generator then blows up the house. The house is on fire, and the soldiers are pulling 60 of the members of this commune out, beating them, raping them, and Fela and his brother in particular are beat within an inch of their life.
Wow.
They're hospitalized and everything like that. And to add the worst part of this, they take Fela's mother, they take her to the top floor, and they throw her off the top of the building.
Jesus.
She's in a coma for 8 weeks.
She didn't die immediately?
She didn't die immediately.
Wait, what?
Yeah, pretty insane.
That is insane.
So she's in a coma for 8 straight weeks. And Fela finally gets out of the hospital himself, and he goes to meet his mother, and within a couple days, his mother passes away. Now, Fela is not stopped by this. So he's been just speaking out against the government, speaking out against colonizers, speaking out against everything that's unjust in Africa. And he gets super pissed. So he writes a song called Coffin for the Head of State in response. And it is brutal. Absolutely brutal. If you look at the lyrics, I mean, it's absolutely insane. But what he does is he takes his mother's coffin with his mother in it, and him and his band members, there's anywhere between 8 and 20 band members. They carry her coffin through the streets to General Obasanjo's palace or compound or whatever you want to call it. And they place her coffin at the front gate, and they put on a concert. And the whole concert is basically like, look at what you've done. What did you gain from this? I only now have more people that are listening to my message. You killed my mother. This has been like a completely revolutionary moment in his life and everything like that. And the people rally with Fela, and it creates more tension and more violence within Nigeria. But now it's the people rising against the military junta that's there. So he keeps doing his thing. During this time, he had created his own music venue. He called it the African Shrine. And while at this music venue, he would basically go up on stage, and his concerts or his shows were 4 to 6 hours. You would be there most of the day. And in between his tunes, he would have these like political messages and stuff like that. And his songs were political messages themselves as well. But he would have these political messages that were all about like fighting back against the government, fighting back against white colonization, fighting back against the dissolution of black culture and everything like that, and tribal culture. And he spoke in like this like kind of interesting version of English, which is called Pidgin English. Are you guys familiar with what that is?
No.
So Pidgin English is basically like a broken English. It's like intentionally broken, but it's meant to like appeal to everybody because it's kind of like it's like a simplified way of speaking English that like just about everyone could kind of understand.
Lingo.
So like instead of like you can't go over there, he would say go there or something like that, right? And so he would like speak in this, and he would call these political lectures yabis, but it became as important as the music itself. So 1 year to the day after the raid on his compound, this part's kind of wild. He takes 27 wives in one day.
Whoa.
Wait,
Yeah.
did not see that coming.
Yeah. So he to honor the women in his compound, he married 27 of them.
How selfless.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Now, it's interesting though, because like when he spoke about it in interviews, he said this is not for like a sexual nature. This is not for like a relationship.
God told me to
nature.
do it.
Yeah.
Was it just so
Who
then they
also
could get
happens to be me.
like royalties and stuff?
So that was
Or-
part of it. The other part was for protection. So basically, like, because a lot of these women had been defiled by the soldiers, from what I understand, basically in that culture, like they were not allowed to essentially go out and try to look for a husband or for a mate of any kind. So he's like, fine, I'll marry you and we'll be protected within our own little world, our Calacuta Republic here.
What a
Yeah. I would
Yeah.
never want to be married to 27 women. I don't.
Why not?
What?
Yeah.
What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say
Jeremy coming.
I don't
out
have
as
the
an
bandwidth. I have the I have the bandwidth for only one. That's all I can say.
That's fair. That's fair.
That is fair.
In 1979, this part is kind of crazy. So he had so like I was telling you earlier, like his albums only had like 2 or 3 songs on it usually, and he was like superiorly anti-commercial. Like he did not want to be commercialized in any single way. So much so that as soon as he recorded an album or recorded songs or whatever, he would never once play them again live. So he might
It's
have
almost like stand up in that way.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like
exactly.
you don't want to do the old stuff.
Exactly. So like instead of playing the hits and continuing to like, make money off of like all these songs you've made, he basically was like, nah, screw that. I'm going to come out with 30 albums and you can just listen to them whenever you want.
Are these like all top 10 discog like records that are probably worth a ton of money? I would assume.
Yeah.
Like for real. I believe it.
Especially if you get African printed ones. Like
I bet some white dude has them all.
more than likely
Like on his wall somewhere, like 100%.
Yeah.
Like,
It's definitely like some white dude from Connecticut.
oh yeah.
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 I have actually 2 of them myself, like some like original printed ones, and they're worth a lot of money, and I'm probably never going to get rid of them. But anyways, so as you could probably imagine, because he's not willing to commercialize his music in any like meaningful way, Decca Recordings, which is like his publisher who holds the rights to his music, they like despise Fela, but they're like, you're like the only artist in Africa that's making us money, so like we can't like let you go either. So after many, many conflicts with Decca, he basically marches into Decca with like 20 of his bandmates and says, we're just going to hang out here for a while. And a while ended up being 4 months. So he basically just like commandeered the offices of Decca Records And
Wow.
during that time, one of his 27 wives had a baby on the floor in Decca Records. And they're like, well, now we got to stay longer because, we got to care for this child.
This is insane.
Yeah, it's incredible. But it doesn't end there. He then decided to run for president of Nigeria. He ran under the party called the Movement of the People. But as you can probably imagine, the military junta that was in control was never going to let this happen. And so at every single point of the election, basically it was rigged, right? I mean, they were rigging it. They were intimidating people at the polling places and everything. And it's interesting because to this day, if you go to Nigeria and you ask who is the black president, every single Nigerian will tell you Fela Kuti, because they believed that he would have won if it wasn't a rigged election. In 1981, he was then once again beaten within an inch of his life by Nigerian soldiers.
Oh my!
They beat him. There was like 20 soldiers that beat him with the butts of their gun. And from that moment on, he was really struggling physically, but he came back out of it. 1984, he was jailed for 20 months for currency charges, and then he was named a prisoner of consciousness by Amnesty International, which basically means like he didn't actually do anything wrong. He was just basically in prison because they decided to come up with some charges to try to get rid of him for a while.
Jeez.
I'm sure the award made him feel better.
Yeah, right. Now, here's the craziest part, I think, personally. I mean, the storming of his compound and everything is wild.
Yeah.
But here's the part that is one of this interesting lasting legacies that he has that people don't necessarily know about. So Fela in 1997 died of AIDS. And when he died of AIDS complications, it completely broke the stigma about AIDS in Africa, because it was seen as something that only gay men obviously would contract.
Definitely not someone with 27 wives.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this guy was obviously quite hetero, right? And so from this moment on, the AIDS awareness and everything like that became
it was huge
instead
over
of
there. I remember that back in the 80s.
I mean, it still is to an extent, but it went from this thing where no one paid attention to it at all, and everyone just pretended like it was not something that was ever going to happen to them, and it could only happen to gay people. Now all of a sudden, everyone's like, okay, well, I need to get tested, and we need to ensure that we're taking measures to control this.
It's like Africa's Magic Johnson.
Pretty much. Yeah. That's a good way to put it. His funeral had over 1 million people attend.
What?
Wow.
I've never heard of a few. I didn't even think the Pope had a funeral that big.
Probably not, honestly. Well, I mean, if you think about televised and stuff like that. Yeah.
But
the
in person,
satellite
that's
funerals.
crazy.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? A million people, 1 million people in person?
Correct. Now, Lagos at the time was about 38 million people. So 1/38 of the entire country of Lagos basically stopped the entire street system and everything like that and marched down the street with his
When did he
coffin.
pass away? When did you say?
1997.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's a couple other little tidbits real quick. This is a total side tangent, which is super interesting, but it kind of lends itself to the cult part. Fela started committing himself to this African spiritualist named Professor Hindu. And
That sounds like a golden age comic book character.
Yeah.
Like someone who would fight the
And what's
shit
your
out of
name?
Hindu.
Professor Hindu?
Professor- Someone played by Ben Kingsley in the
yeah,
early 2000s.
totally. Okay, but Professor Hindu is wild. Okay, this guy, Fela would have him on at the African Shrine, which is his club, and Professor Hindu would slice people's throats.
Ooh.
He would grab a random person from the audience, slice their throat. Blood would be
Hell
pouring
yeah.
out. You could literally see the gash in their neck. And then he would take the entire club and they would go out back and they would bury the man. they would then come back 3 days later and they would start digging up the grave, and all of a sudden a hand would pop out.
What?
And he would raise him from the dead. And I thought this was the craziest thing ever because it's on video.
What?
You can watch it. It's on YouTube.
Dude.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
And
That is
Fela
insane.
became super, super close to this guy and was like, this is the greatest man that's ever walked. This is like the second coming of a deity. Very, very impressive. I don't know how he did it, but everyone within Fela's band, or not everyone, a lot of the people within Fela's band are like, yeah, this guy's a total hoax. But Fela was totally into it.
What?
But when you watch the video, it looks legit as all get out. And I have no idea how they pulled it off.
That's nuts.
Now here's the last thing I'll say. Fela was arrested or cited 200 times in his life, and he made 356 court appearances.
Wow.
356 court
That's
appearances.
nuts.
That's like half your life in court.
Yeah. Now, I wish that I had told you the whole story, but I don't want to take up the entire.
That wasn't the whole
story.
No, not even close. Because like
Have to
there's like
buy
this
the
like
extended
crazy
edition.
meeting with Paul McCartney
Whoa.
and this crazy meeting
Oh
with
my God.
he had like this cool collaboration with Ginger Baker, the drummer from Cream. It's weird, man. This guy's story is like on
Okay.
another level.
So I do have one question.
Yeah.
So you said you've been listening to him a lot. What's like a good entry point for someone to like start listening to the music?
Go check out the album Zombie. I think
Okay.
that's the best place to start.
Sweet. Because I'm like fascinated.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I am too.
Yeah.
I'm like 2 in a row. And I'm
That-
like, oh, these are both great. Like,
Mhm.
Totally. That was the record that hooked me. Now, I didn't know about the storming of his compound until last year. And I was like, what the hell? That album was the album that set off the compound raid in the first place. So,
Wow.
I would check out that album first, but like everything after 1970 is killer. I mean, there's not a bad song in that entire deal, but just be aware that like most of the songs are like 15 to 25 minutes. So,
Okay.
he was ahead of the
How do you
game.
spell his name, Cullen?
yeah. Would you say
Yeah.
that? How do you say his name?
How do you spell his name?
Yeah.
Felakuti.
Perfect. That is, I don't know if that can be beat. To be
Probably
honest.
not.
I don't know.
That might be.
Yeah.
Christian
that
cults
might
are
be the
always fun
craziest.
too, though. Like that.
Right.
That was fantastic.
I'll go next just because I feel like Daniel and Jeremy, you probably have better artists for like these first two, and I'm like, oh God, I don't think I even come close here.
I don't think I can
With you,
either.
I'm-
So, all right, well, maybe we're just gonna start off strong. Maybe it's gonna be like that meme of like the horse where it like starts off really strong and then. But I'll go next here, just because I think I enjoy the lore of this band. I don't think it. I mean, I think it pales in comparison to these first two.
Well,
So
it's not a competition, though, right?
I know it's not.
Yeah,
competition.
we're
Mason,
not-
it's
it's not
not a
competitive.
competition.
I don't. But I don't want the
it's fun.
audience to be like, well, all right, well, they can't get much better than this.
You know
so
what? You know what's a
tune
really
out.
good thing to do to tell them
Show
that.
ends
Tell
at-
them that.
yeah.
Oh yeah, everything else is gonna suck from here on out.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe Jeremy and Daniel have something even better. Who knows?
I doubt it. I'm Jeremy.
No, I
maybe,
think
but
you do,
not me.
Daniel. You have an interesting one, I think.
That's true.
Mine's like, did this guy understand the assignment?
Okay, so Dan, you're gonna round us out at the end. Then does that sound good?
That's right.
That sounds
right.
good to me. Yeah.
Killer.
All right. I will say, so this is a band that I haven't really listened to before. And I only recently found out about them because I literally was like, okay, I could do something like Me Without You. Or there's like some other bands that I'm like, okay, they got some crazy lore. But like, it feels like it's been covered before. This band, there's like not much coverage. There's like a few articles about them online. To my understanding, there's really like no YouTube videos or anything about them. So they are very obscure, at least here in America.
Is it Japan X?
No.
Okay, I almost did Japan X. I don't know if you guys know the story of that band, but
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
No.
yeah. Okay.
But it is a Japanese band.
oh, okay.
it's it's a Japanese band, but I think their name is like French, or like it's like a French spelling. It's Les Rallizes Dénudés,
Never heard of him.
Les Rallizes Dénudés.
something like that.
Dénudés? Or how you say that?
Although, like, that's how, like, the English transliteration, or maybe it's not even a transliteration, but it's like the English version. That's how, like, you say it. The name in Japan or Japanese, I will totally, I don't know Japanese at all, but it's Hadaka no Razu. Razu? I have no idea. Anyway. So I'm going to be messing up some pronunciation because I can't even speak English very well. So Japanese is going to be really fucked up here. Anyway, they were a Japanese band that started in the late 60s. They formed in 1967. And they were a group of students that were at this university in Japan in, is it, no.
Cutter?
Kyoto,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Kyoto.
Kyoto. Yeah, Kyoto. So they were at a university in Kyoto. They started as a band. I'll get to some of the interesting facts about this band that I just find like very interesting, and then I'll get to like the crazy story about them. So, they start out as this band, kind of university, kind of college band. And their frontman, who was kind of like the main person throughout the entire history, it was kind of like the Chariot, where it was like they had the one main guy, and then they always had like a rotation of artists.
Yeah.
And so the main guy, his name was Takashi Mizutani. Takeshi Mizutani. And he was really into like avant-garde stuff. And again, like it's late 1960s, so he also was listening to a lot of like late 60s psychedelic American music and UK music. So he was like really into like Velvet Underground. He was into even like kind of more underground stuff like Captain Beefheart, Blue Cheer. So a lot of like late 60s kind of like psychedelic type of bands. So it's kind of this like avant-garde psychedelic thing that he initially started out with. And then like throughout the years, he got really into kind of like whatever was sort of like the indie thing at the time. So he really got into like indie folk eventually. Like he ended up really into like Bob Dylan stuff. So like he morphed the band into like that more of that direction. So anyway, from like a sound perspective, like they're actually like really, really good if you consider the fact that like they were like 1960s doing really interesting like psychedelic kind of indie stuff. And so if you like listen to their stuff from like late 1960s, early 1970s, I mean, it doesn't sound, obviously the production quality sounds way different, but in terms of like what they were trying to do sounds like very similar to like well, obviously like something like Velvet Underground, but even Flaming Lips, like it's kind of got that like vibe.
Cool.
So it's like they were way ahead of their time and really influenced a lot of Japanese indie music at that time and even like later on. So one thing that's really interesting about this band is they were a band for cumulatively for 25 years and never released a studio album.
What?
Yeah, they were a band for 25 years. Their initial run was from 1967 to 1988, and then they had a 5-year hiatus, and then they came back for a few more years. So they were basically a band for 25 years and never once released a studio album.
So do they have like
went
live
into the
albums
studio
or what?
What's that?
Do they have live albums?
They only have live albums that are bootlegged.
Oh, what?
That's right.
So early
Demo
on in their
splits.
career, they were trying to do like, I think they were in the studio. I don't know the exact story, but all it says was like they went into a studio and they were trying to do like studio recording and they hated it. And so from there on out, they refused to ever record in a studio.
That's so
You're
punk
like,
rock,
this is
dude.
not
I
for
love
us.
it.
That's also
So
so,
punk rock.
Japanese. It's so Japanese
It
though
is.
too. Like, like,
100%.
yeah, no, this is not for me. We just won't do this.
So they just decided not to do it. And so all recordings, like if you listen to any recording of them now, and they do have recordings even like on Spotify, and most of them have only just been recently within the last like 5 to 10 years just been released. Most of their recordings are all like bootlegged live recordings.
So does it sound like shit or?
Some of them do. Yeah. Well, most of them probably do. Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't sound great. The production obviously doesn't sound great, but like when you listen into it, you're like, this was so ahead of its time. Like it really truly is kind of like incredible, like how ahead of, how ahead of time they were at, in the, late 60s, early 70s. So anyway, one of the things is the front man, Takashi, it was like notorious for being like very reclusive. So there's literally like no interviews of him. The first time there was ever any print about the band was in, and this is according to Wikipedia, so take it with a grain of salt. But the first time there was any sort of print about the band was in 1999.
Whoa. So they started in the 1960s.
67.
67.
The first time, and this might have been like in America, so maybe like in Japan they had been written about, but in America, the first time there was ever any print about them was in 1999. So there's like virtually nothing that exists before 1999, at least in America, about the band, and pretty much any like archive or any record of them existing in Japan even like doesn't exist.
Wow.
At least like physical, like print media. There's like just nothing about them. So like nobody knows about them. And their front man just like was notorious for being very reclusive. So like no one like ever saw him. Like they would occasionally play these shows. They never recorded any studio music. And there's rumors that he like lived in Paris for a while.
Was that true?
So
just kidding.
Like, well, a lot of people are like, I don't even know if he lived in Paris. There's nothing about them that really exists that can like kind of confirm anything about their history, which I think is really cool. Wow. Which is why pretty much almost everything about this band is like urban legend. There's only a few things that we sort of know factually about this band. So some of the things that we know about this band is, like I said, there was one main person, and then there was like a rotation of like 30 other people. So anyway, I'm trying to see if there's anything. Like I said before, they had like no recorded like studio music. So when you look, they did have like official releases, but all of the official releases are like live.
Were these shows big?
Recordings.
Were they big concerts? Or were they like just?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Like.
There's nothing about how big they were. Like again, there's just like no there's no like actual record of like how big they were, even in Japan.
If one thing I do find interesting on this recording could find out if all the rumors about this band were true.
Yeah, who's to say, guys?
Okay, sorry.
That's a good plug.
The rumors were not true. One thing that is confirmed is one of their. I'm trying to see. So the front man that I was talking about earlier, he did at one point record music with the former Jimi Hendrix Experience bassist Noel Redding.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like maybe the closest to like any sort of fame that they ever had, was the fact that their lead man had at least some connection with the Jimi Hendrix bassist.
So like it's clear that like there were some like circles that he was traveling in, that he was known in, but like never enough notoriety to like
really break into, especially in the American music scene, certainly.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Dan?
So there's just like nothing about them. So anyway, let's see here. So no recordings. I found that just fascinating. The fact that they existed for that long and there's like no studio recordings is just stupid to me. All right, so this is the craziest thing about them. So one of their former bassists in 1970. So like he was like the original bassist. Okay. In 1970, and Cullen, you might actually know about this since you're a history guy. So in 1970, there was a hijacking of a Japanese flight. Okay. that was going from Tokyo, and it was supposed to go to another city in Japan. Okay. It was hijacked by a group of people that were associated with the Red Army, which was a faction of the Japanese Communist League at the time. Okay. So it was like basically this hijacking of like these like communists from Japan, right? And their bassist was one of the people that was doing the hijacking. Okay.
Whoa. Okay. I thought you were going to say he was like a bystander. No, he's the
no. He was in the like he was one of the active participants in the hijacking. What's interesting is like, and there's like talks on like YouTube and like other articles I read about them where like again like this was the bassist. He was not the front man, so he was not like writing lyrics or anything. The band itself was like never an overtly political band. Like they weren't Rage Against the Machine.
Was
like,
was he an active part of the band during this time? Like was he going
think
like
so,
was he going on like
because
a side
he was
quest?
the original bassist. He was the original bassist, and it looks like I mean he basically like was done with the band after this.
Well, I would imagine so. Yeah.
So okay, no, this
I've
is
got
where
a
it gets
gig.
crazy.
You got to
Okay.
let me out.
Yeah.
So this is where it gets crazy. So all right, they hijacked this Japanese flight. They tell the pilot that we want to go to Cuba. Okay. The pilot tells them we literally do not have the fuel to take a flight from Tokyo all the way to Cuba.
No, we'll share the fuel.
So because of that, they were like, what's next best plan? So they ask him to take them to North Korea.
Ooh.
So
no.
they
Double
land
whammy.
This
Japanese
All right.
landing in North Korea. If you don't understand
This Japanese
the idea of
flight,
that.
and there were like 20 or 30 like hostages on this flight. They end up taking the pilots did take them to North Korea. They land in North Korea. They end up, I think both like North Korea and Japan were both like on the phone with the pilots, like trying to figure out like what are we going to do with these hostages, right? And so they were able to like basically rescue like every single hostage except the pilots. So the rest of the Japanese hostages were released and eventually went back to Japan. Except like, but the pilots or the one pilot like wasn't. And what is interesting is after the pilot landed, they ended up figuring out some sort of deal where the pilot could go and leave back to Japan. But the remaining hijackers ended up becoming like imprisoned in North Korea. And by all accounts, this bassist is still in North Korea as a prisoner.
No. Come on.
Yes.
So commies, the blood doesn't run so deep with commies, is what you're saying.
Well, I think the fact that like he came in like as like a communist, like trying, like I think that's like why he was like at least saved by the like they didn't kill him or whatever right away.
I'm one of you.
Like and maybe he's like not in prison, but like he is still, or at least like all accounts point to the fact that like he still is living in North Korea.
Damn.
Wow.
Is that confirmed that he's alive?
There probably is no, like there's no confirmation that he's alive, but by like all accounts, like it unless there was like some sort of confirmation that he's like been, you know, he died,
Like
there's
executed,
been no
yeah.
confirmation that he's died.
Yeah. I suppose it's hard to get
anyway,
information out
Which
of
there
North
wouldn't
Korea.
be. Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, like he ended up like basically, and I don't know if his like intention was to defect to North Korea, but like that's essentially what he ended up doing. So their basis is still in North Korea
Wow.
by all accounts. So anyway,
So then
that's
how
kind
do
of the
they
craziest
hire-
thing about
How
that
do they
whole
hire
story.
their next bassist? They just
Are
like-
you a
right.
communist? Is question
Yeah.
number one.
It's like we learned from the last time. We got to ask some very specific questions on your qualifications.
Once bitten, twice shy.
Jeez.
Ah, that was really cool. I love this. I feel like I'm like reading a punk zine. I feel like I'm like
Yeah.
I'm learning about some cool shit. Like I already feel cooler.
Yeah.
Just
Mine's definitely not
Yeah,
going to be
they're,
as
like-
cool as these three, for sure.
Was there,
Really?
Was there more to the story, Mason?
No, that's kind of like to me like this the whole like North Korea like defecting
Yeah, that's
part
a
was like to me the
wild
most
story.
fascinating thing. Again, like there's really nothing about this band that exists. So in 2012 or 2014, there was some American journalist that was trying to find any way to connect to anyone in Japan that knew anything about them, and basically like came away with nothing. There was like just nothing that they could like. There's no connections that exist. They couldn't end up getting in connection with any
What if they're all
members.
dead?
No
What he
one.
needs to do is he needs to get in contact with Dennis Rodman and then get in
Right.
contact with
There you
Kendrick.
go.
Yeah, there you
Rodman.
go.
Yeah, Rodman will be able to figure
This
it
is
out.
way in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, although what they did confirm, the lead man, again, I'm forgetting his name, Takashi, he did die in 2019. They did confirm that. So he is the lead man is dead, which basically means I would imagine that this band is no longer going to exist because it was his project.
Yeah.
I guess then, like, my big question is then how did their stuff end up on Spotify? Like, who has the rights?
Yeah, that's a great
Yeah, so there's a variety of different like labels that basically have like picked up their stuff. When America learned about that this band exists, there was a variety of labels that like, you know, indie labels that kind of picked up their stuff. I did read something about like one of their former members has sort of like tried to bring their music to America, which I think has basically meant that now some of their stuff can like be on streaming. So I mean, I like looked up their stuff on Spotify. Like they're on Spotify.
Yeah.
They actually just had like one of their albums just released last year. Again, it's all live stuff, but they did have an album that got released last year. So yeah, but it's all live stuff. It's crazy that the fact that they never once recorded a studio album.
I know. I love that.
Yeah.
So it's all bootleg stuff from live shows. I mean, it's kind of like, it's like an extreme version of like the Grateful Dead.
Grateful Dead. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Interesting.
Punk rock, Grateful Dead.
Crazy.
So anyway,
That's
that's my
wild.
band.
That was very cool.
Rallizes Dénudés,
Lay-
I think is how you pronounce it.
Lay-
You need to have links for all these artists in the show notes, so
Yeah, you
yeah.
should do that.
we can get back to
That'd
that.
be cool.
Well, I feel like a bona fide
no
loser
cult.
at this point. Yes, mine is a commercial
Listen,
rock
all you
band.
need,
Hey.
all you got to do is top North Korean Defection,
Two Colts
two
and a partridge in a pear tree.
No pressure. I mean,
Well,
It's not competitive, guys.
it's not
a
competitive,
competition.
and I feel
It's not
like
a-
I
it's not a
have
competition.
failed you guys because you guys went in deep dives, and I'm like, Billy Corgan. So
Dude, Billy Corgan is a crazy story.
yes, he
though.
is.
yeah.
Well,
And I don't think most people know about it.
Well,
So
yeah.
that's a good one.
Well, mine is actually about his side project, Zwan, and I love Zwan.
Oh, I thought it was Caillou.
No, Zwan. No, it's not.
One is interesting.
Kylan at
I
least
love
got
this
that
story.
joke.
He what now? What'd you say?
I was like, at least Kylan got that joke about. I always thought that Billy Corgan looks like Caillou.
Oh, I get it now. I did not understand what you
seen- have
said,
you
but
guys
yes,
seen
it does.
the,
It totally makes sense.
Just as much
Have
as
you
a
guys
brat
seen-
too. Yeah.
Have you guys seen the podcast episode on Howie Mandel's podcast between so Bill
Oh, he
Burr
brought
is
them on as brothers or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, you guys are long lost
I've
brothers."
seen
and then
clips
he's like
of that,
pissed,
Yeah.
or like
Yeah,
Bill's
well,
pissed.
they play
Yeah.
it off,
Oh.
right? And they're like, "Yeah, you're basically brothers here," and yeah, and like they're like pretended to like put together like the pieces of like their fatherhood. It's the funniest
Yeah, it's-
thing in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great.
because they do look alike.
They do.
and they have the same first name.
Yeah,
which is
it's true.
They
hilarious.
definitely do.
Just a bunch of Bills. Yeah, Zwan, guys. Yeah, Zwan. I've always been a fan of them, but I never was like super deep dive till we talked about doing this. So I reached out to my trusted friend Jared Bowser, and he's a fanatic, and so I asked him a lot of questions, and he chat GBT me a lot of information, and actually he literally copy and pasted it. But anyway, yeah. So this band started after the Pumpkins broke up, and it's funny because I grew up in Christian hardcore metal and all that, and I was super like not major label type of guy. I was all like, Tooth and Nail, Victory Records, that whole thing. And then a friend of mine when I was in college was like, "Hey, you got to go see the Pumpkins," because they were playing in the town I was in. And I was like, I don't know, $30 is a lot. And so I bought a ticket and I went, and it changed my life, like completely changed my life.
Hell yeah.
So huge Billy Corgan fan from that moment on. Zwan is, obviously the band he started after the Pumpkins broke up, and it has got members from Slint, It's got members from A Perfect Circle, Silver Jews, and Chavez, just, indie royalty, if you will. Yeah, who's who? A supergroup, in theory.
And if Cullen, it looks like the guy who was from Slint that was in this band was the guy who opened for Mogwai earlier.
David Pajo?
Yeah, Pajo.
Yeah.
Is that who it was?
Yeah.
Yeah, he opened for Mogwai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, dude. Amazing band. They only put one record out because they couldn't get along. And I have a feeling it was because of one person, but
you have that feeling.
I'm still a fan. I'm still a fan.
Was it the same reason that the Pumpkins
Probably.
couldn't get along?
Probably. And Jimmy Chamberlain played
all
drums
Bill
too.
Burr's fault.
So he was along for the ride. They put a record out, and it was on Reprise Records. The record was, I feel like did fairly well for that time. I think that was kind of when Napster started to kind of take off. And so I think record sales were not the greatest. And I think there was a lot of internal tensions because some of the guys, I watched a couple of videos and they recorded all these great guitar parts. And there was a female in the band from A Perfect Circle and Silver Jews. And they would just have tension and Billy would record over those parts, which I feel like is what he did in Siamese Dream. But, who's who's faulting the genius? No.
Oh, it's what's her name? Paz from the Pixies.
Yeah, that's right. She's in the Pixies now. That's right. Yeah,
she was the one that did the AU parts of. Wow.
Yeah.
She has such a.
I know, and she apparently her and Billy were the ones that butted the heads the most. Is what I caught on in the videos. The other guys were just kind of whatever. And Billy always blames the breakup of the band on drugs and sex with, people in the band and whatnot. But they all blame Billy for being Billy. And, I like Billy.
I wonder who's right.
I like Billy.
To be fair, though, we all kind of blame Billy for being Billy.
Of course. I mean, absolutely. He's kind of a turd, but I kind of like that turd somewhat. But
it does bring up an interesting question. It's when someone is a musical genius, how much runway do you give them?
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, you're right. And also too, it's funny. I heard a interview with David Pajo, and he was like, it was after the fact. I was probably 2 years ago. And they were talking about Zwan, and he was like, I just really didn't even like the Pumpkins. And it's like, okay, cool, I get that. But it's you clearly wanted to work with Billy. I would want to work with Billy. I feel like that would be the case. But, there's that indie cred. I'm sure that was probably part of it. And the record's great, by the way. Mary, Star of the Sea is amazing. You can't get it on vinyl. It's very rare. And it's a very polished Billy Corgan. It's a pop Billy Corgan record, in my opinion. And I say Billy Corgan because you're on most of it. But yeah, there's just a lot of allure about the band, and just kind of they played, very minimal shows, very minimal interviews. I think they even I think he went on a Chicago news station and said the band broke up. It was so stupid. It's weird. They're like, oh, so what's up with Zwan? He's like, oh, we're broken up. It's it's just. Totally a Billy thing.
So Jeremy, don't take this as a slight, but did Corgan have hair during Zwan?
He did not, and that's not a slight.
I think so. Yeah.
But I will say, I noticed he when Melancholy came out in the first couple videos, he did have hair, and then on 1979, he did not have hair. So there was a changing of the guard. But
enough fell out.
Yeah.
So my sense is, based on the way you're talking about this, they never toured, they never played shows.
They played so they played they did did go to Europe. Sorry, they didn't do a US tour. They played a couple US shows in Chicago, and I think they did like Letterman or Leno or one of those or something like that. So they did play live, but most of their touring was in Europe, and I think they started to kind of splinter at that point. So there's just a lot of, mystery in terms of like what's true, what's not true. And I tend to
and which of their members was a confirmed communist?
I don't know. Yeah.
Dennis Rodman with
Yes.
the
I mean,
tambourine.
there might have been one. Who knows?
The theme basically tonight has been communists and cults.
Yes.
Communists and cults.
Yes. Yeah. But
Okay, so what were some of
and
the juicy
Corgans.
stories that you were able to suss out?
well, apparently one of the, and I don't know who, they didn't specify, but the female, I'm assuming, and I could be wrong.
I think it's Paz.
Yeah. And one of the gentlemen and the lovely gentlemen in the band were, being together. And I think Billy blamed the breakup on sex and drugs and rock and roll. And it's, of course, who knows what happened. I'm sure that there might be some truth to that. But
Did anyone ask him about Fleetwood Mac?
who, Billy?
If Fleetwood Mac could have done it, why?
Well, yeah,
couldn't
If they
you?
did it, yeah.
I mean, I think he just likes to blame people for anything and everything. And I still love him. Big fan of him. But yeah, I don't know. It bums me out because I feel like this band could have went further, could have done better things. But at the same
Yeah,
time,
big
they
time.
put one great record out that's very like cult-like. It's extremely cult-like in terms of the fans. Apparently, they're supposed to work on a box set with 65 songs that even the best songs apparently weren't even released. All the artists say that, but
But that's been like in the works for
yeah, for a
10,
while. Yeah, for a
20
while.
right?
And
It's been a long
yeah,
time.
I mean, who knows if we'll ever get it? But yeah, I think Billy plays some Zwan songs every once in a while on his live set, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I think it's kind of like, and he said, it's funny too. He says in an interview, he said this is the happiest he was in music, which is kind of ironic.
it sounds like he was.
Yeah, it seems
Yeah.
like the norm, but it didn't age well
Grass
for sure.
is always greener, guys.
It's almost like he just.
What does
says
it mean when
whatever
like the
whenever it's-
happiest you've been
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
still with a
Yeah.
breakup?
No, I know.
Okay.
And sometimes you need to look in the mirror. I get it. But yeah, great record. Not as in depth or crazy or chaotic as your last three, but I can tell you, yeah, it's just a great record, great band. Wish it could have done more. Wish I wish Billy wasn't a turd, but
I do think it's interesting because when you the interviews I've seen with the other members of the band, other than Billy, is everyone super cagey about it.
yes, I agree with that.
Like they're super coy and cagey.
Yeah, they're like avoid stuff. Yeah.
I've never seen anybody.
It's almost like let's not talk about it. Like yeah.
like and
NDA
they're
sounds
so
more like
like
to me.
because I mean, anytime
It might
you would
be.
have had a chance to like
Yeah.
play with Billy Corgan, you'd be like, all right,
that's
gonna
what I'm
talk about it
saying.
as much as I
Like
can.
yeah.
But like none of them talk about it ever, and then when you bring it up, they go, "Ooh, I'm out. I'm not talking about."
So
this.
David Pajo did an interview. I saw it on a video. I can't think who it was with. It was like 2 or 3 years ago, maybe, and he got pretty in depth with it, which I thought was interesting. But again, he was kind of playing I didn't really like the Pumpkins card, and it's like, well, you kind of probably did.
Well, guys,
Yeah,
we
totally.
can't rule out that Billy Corgan also had a horsewhip. That may
Yeah,
be
fair,
the
yeah.
answer to all of that.
Yeah.
He might have,
he had a horsewhip in his ice cream truck from the
Yeah.
music video in 1979.
dude. Yeah. Well, with all that said, I love all the music he's ever done. But yeah,
All of it?
most
all
of
of
it. Okay, sorry, 85% of it. I like.
I was gonna say the last couple records have been
Yeah.
pretty rough.
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah, they're not great. There's a couple good songs here and there, but I think most of it's pretty good. But yeah,
I feel you.
sorry it wasn't as
No, dude,
cool
that's a
as
It was
yours.
good. It was good.
No, that was great.
Yeah, they are a band like where, and this is the first time I'm hearing about them, but like it sounds like a band where it like now that like over 20 years has passed, almost 25 years has passed, like it's kind of one of those things where it's
Why
like,
does it matter?
can people just like figure their shit out? Like maybe people have healed. Hopefully people have gone to therapy enough to like figure their shit out. And now it's like, all right,
Let's just go make money.
Let's come back together.
Let's just go make money.
Dude,
Yeah.
I'm almost certain there's like a conspiracy, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist like ever. Like I hate conspiracy theories, but this is one of those like situations where I'm certain there's a conspiracy theory here, because the fact that like everyone's so tight-lipped about it just gives me like reason for pause.
There might have been some stuff that didn't need to be let out of the bag, or cat's not let out of the bag of sorts. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're right. Everyone's kind of tight-lipped about it. It's kind of like the thing we won't talk about type of thing.
Yeah.
It's odd.
It's weird. It's like poison. It's a good point. All right.
Interesting.
Well, cool. All right.
Well,
that's a good one.
maybe this one will even become more crazy lore 20 years from now.
Yeah.
Maybe.
As because things will, the cat will get out of the bag, and maybe
The
it's one of
rumor
those
will
things
be
where it's
true.
just like,
The rumor
Yeah,
will
the rumor
eventually
will be
be
true.
true. Yeah, that's right.
all right, Daniel Terry, you're.
I'm excited for this, by the way.
All right.
I love the
Yeah.
band you picked, by the way.
Okay.
I don't know if I know. I don't know if I know
so
who you picked.
I was caught between two. Because originally, we were going back and forth on Instagram. I was like, okay, yeah. I was like, I know a lot about Mortification and Zayo and Norwood and stuff, but like I've done videos on all those bands, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those like, and then you're like, it doesn't have to be a Christian band. So I took it totally in the opposite direction. And so I picked a satanic black metal band.
Hell yeah.
From Sweden.
Oh, which
And,
one?
It's Dissection.
Sick.
And Dissection is a little bit of lore for me, is that I used to do this podcast called Discography Discussion, which we covered everything. It wasn't actually a Christian affiliated podcast really at all. And I never got to talk about Dissection, and it always frustrated me because they only had 3 albums. And talking about Dissection is so much easier than talking about a band like Napalm Death, who has like 25 albums that all sound the same, right? So I got really into the lore of Dissection back then, and then I ended up quitting the podcast, and it was the whole thing. So I'm happy to kind of bring this up on a podcast because I've always wanted to. So the most notable thing about Dissection is they were one of the earlier black metal bands from Sweden, or from a Scandinavian black metal
Great
band.
Peninsula.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they formed in 1989. And they were formed by a guy that I'm going to talk about more than anybody else, and his name is John Noidveit. I'm probably saying it wrong, but I mean, I don't feel so bad now. That's part of why I went last. I was like, let's hear how these guys pronounce things, and then I'm going to, move in.
Bill
and do mine,
Corgan.
right? Yeah. William
Corgan.
Corgain.
Paz.
Yeah.
It's actually pause.
But I'm going to call John just John from Dissection, right?
Cool.
So John plays guitar, or he used to play guitar for Dissection. They were very influential in innovating like melodic black metal. Their recordings actually sounded really good. They didn't. Wasn't like
Actually,
they were
I love that.
Yeah.
Like, wow,
Yes.
black metal could actually sound
so
decent.
good.
Wow, who would have
Yes, they tried.
What label were they
really
on?
hard. They were. I'm gonna check on Wikipedia, right? Because I'm a YouTuber. That's what
Is it
we
Nuclear
do.
Blast?
We literally just read Wikipedia and then type our version of what Wikipedia said, and then we say it. But yeah, they were on Nuclear
That's what I thought,
Blast
yeah.
at one point. They
Of
were on
course
the
they were on
records,
Nuclear
no
Blast,
fashion.
yeah.
They're not obscure. I mean, almost anybody that's into black metal knows who Dissection is.
Yeah.
But what's interesting about them to me is that they were a satanic black metal band. And I don't mean it in the way that like other black metal bands were satanic, where it's like, well, we actually really like Tolkien and we're atheists, and they took away our pagan roots, man.
So
which is why we're gonna burn your church down, and we're gonna be really upset that this band called Ancestors in our house, or like in our country, and right, like
They were practicing.
It's not like those guys. Dissection, this guy John, he actually like, it really was Satanism in the purest sense of like what your parents thought Satanism was and satanic
Anton
panic.
LaVey
No.
Satanism?
No.
Okay.
No, we're talking like so in a certain sense you can say that Dissection kind of was a Christian band because it includes all of the Christian
Imagery?
mythology, if that's not too offensive of a way to say it.
We're not a
so-
satanic band. We're Satanists in a band.
Correct. Yeah. Well, no,
We're not a
no,
satanic
no.
podcast. We're Satanists that have a podcast.
No. So this was not like that. This was a Satanist and a satanic band
All right.
that wanted to spread the message. It's like if Steve Rowe from Mortification was a Satanist.
So it's
like we're talking like that level of zeal.
It's
like
Satan
like,
evangelism.
Correct.
Okay.
So like to the point where like he didn't like Anton LaVey Satanism. Right? He was
too
like,
commercial.
No, that's, I'm not into that. Yeah, I'm not into that.
yeah.
Into that pop
Derivative.
indie
It's too
stuff.
indie.
Derivative.
So the band put 2 records out, and then they actually ended up breaking up for a few years. We'll get into why, just in a few minutes. But yeah, they broke up in basically in '98, and didn't come back until 2006 ish. And the reason is because John was in prison.
Oh, that's always
Naughty.
good to be.
Very naughty.
Right, because
Three square
him and a
meals.
buddy of his, they killed a dude.
Ooh, yeah.
They
That'll
killed
do it.
they killed a gay man. I never could figure out if it was specifically because he was gay, but there's another. This is not the only like black metal
Yeah.
story where a black metal band member killed a gay dude.
Mayhem
in part,
guy did it, I think,
for
too.
soliciting
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was
Emperor. Yeah, you're
yeah,
right.
the
Emperor.
drummer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So similar sort of situation. But what's different about this one is it's so funny. If people are you guys posting this as a video on you?
Yes.
Because they're gonna be like, this
Yes.
dude's literally just reading. We can see him reading off of. I use a program on my videos called Descript, and it's got
the best.
yeah, dude, it's got this app that like locks my eyes to the camera, so you can't tell that I'm like looking off screen reading. But all is being revealed tonight. But yeah, so they killed this guy, and and I say they. John was friends with a guy whose name I'm also going to pronounce wrong. What was this other guy's name? Because like it's to me, I read it. I'm just like, oh yeah, Swedish name. And this guy wasn't in the band. But him and his friend were part of a cult that had about 4 members.
Dang,
Right?
dude.
And it was called the Temple of the Black Light.
Oh my god,
dude,
that's
that's
some nerd shit.
I was gonna say that sounds like
Yeah.
some D&D shit.
It is some like, did you guys bring the Mountain Dew? You know, like it's very
Like,
Yeah.
is it really a cult at that point, or is it just some like stupid nerd shit?
I don't know, man. Like there's definitely. I was really yeah. I mean, I was really into some nerd shit when I was a kid, right?
Yeah.
And also now, and so whenever I started reading through like all the stuff that they did, they wrote one of the guys, not John from Dissection, wrote a book in 2020 called The Book of the Left-Handed Reaper, and it goes through like all of their lore.
Oh damn!
And it says that their belief system, basically, the Temple of the Black Light believes, I'm reading from Wikipedia, it believes in what they titled chaoscophy. They believe in the biblical creation account of Adam and Eve and the existence of Abrahamic God. So, you know, it's a Christian band, right?
Yeah.
That according to them, the universe, but unlike followers of Abrahamic faiths, they instead reject that God, and they want to see his creation not to have taken place and wish to destroy it and cause its non-existence through magics and rituals. So yeah, it's literally like our D&D campaign. We decided that it was real, and we.
It's just
but my mom
you know
forced
what?
me to
It's
go to
like-
church when I
yeah,
was writing
it's
this
like-
scenario,
it's
so
like-
I had to incorporate some of that in there too.
Emo Christians. It's like, yeah, God, I know you exist, but like,
Could you not?
You're probably not really there for me when I need you.
yeah.
Right.
Joe.
So it's funny,
This
right?
is like Hell or High Water, or like Come Now Sleep, just with like out the murder.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly. No, so what they did is, I mean, they killed cats. They started off sacrificing cats, and they talked about human sacrifice, but this crime
It's
that they
always
committed,
cats that they start out with, isn't it?
right?
Is that like some
This
Egyptian kink or what?
I don't know. I'll have to read this dude's book, although like probably not, right? Like
I mean, I think that's your next video, right?
I feel
totally
like
is.
this is my next video for sure. That would be, oh my goodness, that'd be awesome. my comment section, man.
Just set it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Well,
right.
they these guys like good little emo hobbits, they did go ahead and confess to the murder. They were like, we did it, you know. So but like here's the thing, in countries like Sweden and Norway, you get very light sentences for murder.
It's like 10 years.
Like
something like that.
Scandinavian,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
prisons are like nice. I watched
Yeah.
like a whole BBC thing on
Yeah.
it. Like,
Yeah, because they're like,
So it really
they're, like, big on rehabilitation.
It really doesn't make you
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
want to commit the crime if you don't like somebody, unfortunately.
Right.
Well, 10 years of my
It's-
life? It's good.
Oh, that's fine. That's
Yeah.
I would skip
yeah, it
this
was
10
very
years that
light.
we're in right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I honestly, I might rather be in a Scandinavian prison than where
For
we
real.
are right
Yeah.
Mason's literally in Minneapolis right now.
Ooh.
So,
now.
Yeah. Oh,
Frozen
That's
tundra.
yeah, and other things.
oh my goodness. They actually have.
He said, "Oh my goodness."
They actually have their own. Well, no, they actually have their own. I was just reading. So my oh my goodness was actually. They have their own they have their own Trinity that they made up.
Ooh.
Because you got to have it, right?
For sure.
These are the three dark veils before Satan. So they're all three in one with Satan, right? And the first one, let's see, we've got Tohu, the formless chaos. So like these guys, obviously, they're reading like Lovecraft.
Tofu?
and
Is that what you
stuff and
said?
being like,
Yeah.
Tahu,
Tahoe.
Tohu. Not to be confused
got
with
a
the second one, which
food.
is Bohu.
Yeah.
It's Bohu with a B, which is emptiness, nothingness, and then Belial because let's spice it up and throw in like a demon
name
name.
I like
Right. And then you've got Chasic, darkness, Athael, which is uncertainty, you know, which is the only one that actually sounds scary to me. Uncertainty is the most terrifying force in the world.
Okay, can I provide a quick side tangent just because I thought about it and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't get it out of my head. When I was young, I grew up in an evangelical household, right? I played Legend of Zelda, and I love Legend of Zelda.
Nice.
And the only way that I could get my parents to allow me to play Legend of Zelda, because it was a rated M game, was the fact that there was a Triforce on the front of the cover.
oh,
That's
That's it?
adorable.
And I said, it's the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. That's what the Triforce is, Mom and Dad.
That is.
And they believe-
Did they know you're lying?
No, they didn't believe it. They totally believed it. I just what I meant to say.
That's wild.
They did not know I was lying.
Interesting.
Man.
That's incredible.
Total
That's why
side tangent.
Fox News can tell them anything, and it's just like
That's right. That's right.
Well, it's crazy.
gospel.
'cause,
It's like tooth and nail for video games.
your Fallout shelter sign, though, shows that you become a Satanist because now the Triforce
I
is
know the
inverted.
Triforce is upside down.
But we still have the Triforce.
Oh my god!
Wow.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
So yeah, this dude was into some crazy stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's just interesting to me because he gets out of prison, he immediately gets the band together again, Lambesis style, right? Like,
Hell yeah.
and so
Attempt.
it's,
So did he attempt to get it
You know,
together
day
and
one he
quit
walked
again,
out of
or-
prison and just plugged his guitar in.
picked his guitar
Oh,
up.
shit.
Yeah,
Here we go
Here
again.
we go.
Let's
he probably
do it
had it in
again.
prison. He probably wrote most of the music.
Yeah,
Bring the
yeah.
dew.
But yeah,
Bring the dew.
in 2006, he records their final album, which is called Rain Chaos.
Hell yeah.
And that's chaos with a K because you gotta,
Mhm.
of
of
course.
course.
But then, pretty much right after that, John,
I know what happens.
he
Okay,
ended
so,
his.
so
he
hold
ended
on
his-
real quick.
his-
Did you explain
career.
like what their reason was for killing this guy in the park?
So it's unconfirmed, but it's probably because he was gay. I'm not 100% sure, but
Oh,
like,
that's some like shitty Satanists.
Yeah, it
man.
is.
that's what
like.
yeah,
I think that
yeah,
was common, unfortunately, in that area. Like with a lot of those dudes are just yeah, like emperor and all, like we said, it was just like, oof.
It just doesn't make sense to me because all gays are Satanists anyway, right? According to
exactly.
my
That's like
upbringing.
bad Satanism.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
like,
no. Because
You naughty
these
Satanist.
guys- no, because like Christianity, these guys were the right Satanists and everybody else was wrong, right? Like
That's true.
Like
that's
right
how
as in
that's how we do it. There's
right
no
as in like
nuance.
the right side of the political spectrum. Is that what you're trying to say? Or
It's like the internet. No, I mean right is incorrect.
oh,
right?
okay, yeah,
Right.
They're
yeah.
Satan.
So the right side of the political
Satan
spectrum, the correct side.
Oh man, this is Well, once this album comes out, dude basically is like, okay, I've taken my my satanic mission as far as I possibly can, using music as an outlet, right? And then he ended up ending his own life, and not because he was sad or depressed, according
He
to
was
him.
just done.
Yeah, and he did it. I don't know how censored you want to be, but he committed suicide like in a circle of candles in his own house.
With pentagram?
Was there a pentagram? A pentagram?
I don't know if it was a pentagram. It was just a circle, probably like a witching circle.
Sure.
Whatever it was. Yeah.
It wasn't
Whatever,
an
he
impending
probably had a
doom
cool name for
repentagram,
it.
is what you're saying.
It wasn't a repentagram. I don't think that he repented on his deathbed, right? But what was interesting about him was that apparently the reason he committed suicide was because he felt like he was at the absolute top of his game
Dude.
and wanted to go out
What a
at the
ballsy
absolute
move.
top of his game.
Wow. Barry Sanders.
I've wrote the opus. I'm done.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy because like what stands out to me about Dissection and John in particular is that this is an example of somebody that actually did he really believed what he was doing. You know what I mean? So many of these bands that do the whole Satanism thing or the whole Christian thing and all that, they do it. It's a bit, right? And this was one of the rare examples of it not being a bit at all. This guy was like
Balls to the
literally
wall.
out there trying to win souls for Satan.
So
Like,
Dang.
it's funny to me because this just kind of feels like a Skyrim side quest that you run into. And like, you know, the worshippers of Baal all of a sudden, like,
Right.
they just
yeah.
they kill themselves in a witching circle and they're like, I have completed my work. I'm done
Yeah.
here.
Well, what killed me is it's so generic. That's the only thing that bugs me about it is like he was so like, you know, all of our friends over there in Norway, they're doing it wrong. We're gonna be the stereotype. We're gonna be the
I'm the real deal.
We're gonna be the cops eating donuts. You know, like we're gonna do the thing that everyone expects us to do. And that always bugged me. And he died for that. He died for like the generic boogeyman image.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pure patriotism, right?
I mean,
Sure.
Satan nationalism.
Yeah. For the nation of Satan, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Bummer.
yeah. So
What blows
Yeah, I
my
don't know if that
mind
was
is
the
fact
assignment,
that
but-
okay, so the murder happened in 1997, and he was out of jail by 2006.
he died in 2006. I think he got out of jail earlier than that.
Yeah, so like, what? I mean, I don't know if he was the one that pulled the trigger or not.
No,
but,
in
like,
Europe
my
they
goodness,
let you can get away with murder and get like a 10-year sentence. Like yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard of like DUI sentencing longer in America than
Yeah.
that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
we
you
live in
know-
a police
you know the
state, Mason.
story
Don't
of-
you know that living in Minneapolis right now?
You know
Come
the
on.
story of Varg and Euronymous, right?
No.
Mayhem.
Yeah, where Varg, so Varg was actually in Mayhem, and Euronymous was the guy behind Mayhem. And he basically, Varg ended up killing him, and ended up going to prison for, what was it, like 10
Yeah.
years?
Something like that.
And he even recorded Burzum albums while he was in prison.
Yeah.
And then he went on YouTube, and YouTube was like, absolutely not. We're getting rid of this guy. Like as soon as he popped.
Bye bye.
Oh, yeah. Which I mean, they'll do that to you if you've used more than 12 seconds of music. You know,
Right.
Right.
Okay, so one thing I want to know about these bands from like both Norway and Sweden, and I feel like I've tried to see if Peter, whenever we interview Peter from
Yeah, yeah.
Extol, and Peter's the
He's
best.
great.
I'm sure
Yeah.
you all.
Yeah.
He's just the best. But one thing I've always tried to figure out is like what was like both Blindside and Extol's relationship with these like very overt.
No,
like,
I'm very curious about
anti-Christian
that
bands.
too.
He never really
The
gave us
fact
like
that
a
they were,
great
like, very
answer.
associated with that world.
He never gave us a
I
great
don't
answer
know.
on that.
Well, I did. So I did a video recently on Christian black metal or unblack metal, and I read an interview. It was the drummer from Emperor, the guy that killed that guy, the other guy that killed a gay guy in a park, right?
Oh God.
And he was talking to Euronymous, who was murdered by Varg not long after, and he's like, "Hey, there's this band called Ancestor.
Yep.
What are we gonna do about them? How are we gonna get rid of them?" So like that's the only confirmation I've ever heard of like the satanic black metal people like talking about doing something to.
Well, and they were on that
Christian
secular
bands.
label too. They were on
They were
yeah,
on Cacophonous
which is
Records in
and the
98,
label didn't even know they were Christian, so I think they were like kind of like, what the heck, like.
So the label did. So I've done a nerd amount of research on Ancestor, and that's who I should
They're so
pick for
good.
this episode. But yeah, but I've talked about them to death. But basically, the label did know that they were a
interesting.
Christian band. Yeah, and they just told them they're like, we don't care. We're cool with just selling records. We think you guys made a kick-ass record.
It's a great record.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, yeah. So because like that's more realistic with labels. Labels want to make money. That's their primary thing.
Right.
But that's also why if you have a copy of The Return of the Black
It's
Sabbath
very
by
rare.
Ancestor,
Yeah.
there's almost no lyrics.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
But the best lyrics on that CD are printed in the booklet, where he's like, Satan says he'll set me free, but he's a loser just like me. Like, it's presented in all of its like screaming corpse painty glory. Like,
I love Ancestor.
good.
They're great.
yeah,
Interesting.
they're one of my
Yeah,
favorites.
I've just always been like curious, especially like for those bigger bands that came out, you know, like Extol or Blindside that came out of that world. And obviously, like Blindside wasn't like a black metal band, but
Sure.
but like they come out
Of that area. Yeah.
and they were like, it's not like, I mean, I forget exactly when Blindside started, but like, I mean, it's like mid 90s,
90s,
Mid
yeah.
98 or no, sorry, 95.
Yeah, so
Technically
like
when it
mid
started.
90s. Like it's not that much longer after the late 80s, early 90s of like the height of, you know, satanic black metal in you know, both Sweden and Norway. So yeah, I've always been curious about like, I mean, they're coming right out of basically like that being a dominant music scene. So
Yeah.
I've always been curious, like, have they felt like they almost had to like protect themselves from that world? But I don't know.
I wonder, yeah. I almost think that it's like, I almost think that those bands were probably pretty separate from the music scene overall until a certain point, you know? Because, like, you can think about it, I mean, any of us that have played in Christian bands, it's like, you know, you play, your first few shows are like churches and,
Sure.
you know what I mean? Like,
Well, I think
youth
it's
group,
more like what
know,
you see
sort of
here,
things.
right?
Yeah.
Like there,
Yeah.
you would have been playing amongst them. But the difference is that like you're not doing altar calls if you're Blindside or Extol or something like that. You're doing
Well, yeah, because they weren't American. It's not like American Christianity where there's a certain
Exactly.
order of operations that you're supposed to use to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those scenes were probably so siloed, like in the same way that like, you know, the music scene, like, you know, part of the reason why like Christian, especially like Christian like hardcore metal was so siloed from even like the other markets that were existing at that time. Like I would imagine that's probably the same case. Like they were just an entirely like Blindside and Extol were probably an entirely different like siloed, like you know, tribalized kind of market than.
And now Extol's respected. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how like both like the Scandinavian like black metal scene is understood at this point. Like I don't know how Scandinavians think about it, but like Extol, I would imagine, at least from an American perspective, seems to be one of the most respected
Absolutely.
metal bands.
When you got the bass player from Dillinger Escape Plan wanting to do a side project with you, it says a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Yeah.
Totally. So,
Yeah.
dude, this was so cool. Like there's just so many good bands that have like so many cool, just like what the hell, like this is crazy stories.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I know we said this isn't a competition, but I think it'd be fun if each of us just kind of pick.
It'd be
I'm
fun
gonna
to make it a
lose.
competition now.
I'm
at
gonna
the last
What was the
second.
coolest?
Oh man.
I'm gonna pick Kylan.
I'm going to pick Kylan too.
as the
I'm going to
cool-
pick
as the
Kylan too.
coolest.
Yeah.
Only because I knew
don't
the
know,
only because
man.
Daniel only because I knew the dissection story. I did not know Kylan's story.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair.
I don't know. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna say. Jeremy, I would love to listen to like a deep dive investigative like serial style podcast
Yeah.
on the band you picked.
On Zwan.
I think that would be interesting for sure.
Mason, I want to watch like a HBO produced documentary, maybe 2-part series about the band you picked. Cullen, I want to watch like a fucking movie about
I was
this
about to
guy's
say, like,
life.
a biopic of this guy's life would be crazy.
Would be
I totally
insane.
agree with that. Yeah.
Daniel, I want to play a D&D campaign based on all of the things that you
Hell
said.
yeah.
So they're all just like very different. It's
are.
all very different experience, very different flavors of Mountain Dew, if you will.
What do you want to see about your band then? Or hear?
Um,
Interactive
man.
video game?
yes, yeah, I want to do like an old school, like a
Side-scroller?
VHS video game where it's like the people, like the live action camera stuff. I want to do like an old school PC.
Rotoscoped?
Point and click. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rotoscoped
exactly.
point and click
Yeah.
video game. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
What
I think
would
they're
be
all
the,
just
like,
different
combination
experiences.
You would have to do to like get the hole in the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hole in the heart combo. Your next album is Brainwashed. Yeah.
Heart like a hole, black as your. Yeah.
Well, guys, great lore. I honestly, each one of these bands that you guys mentioned, never heard of them once, and now I just feel like I'm full
You're
of
enlightened.
knowledge about just.
That's what I was saying. It
crazy-ass
feels like a
bands.
cool punk zine.
It does.
I feel
Yeah.
cooler.
It
After
Should we do this?
Yeah.
There's so
Should we
many
do this
different
every
flavors,
3
yeah.
months? I think that would be really interesting just
Dude,
to find.
I'm down for
do
that.
something.
I'm down.
I don't know.
Different topic. Maybe dangerous band next. Who knows?
Naughty
We-
band,
we-
the naughtiest band.
Not
Roll
the naughtiest
tape.
band.
Naughty.
The band
Get
that would
most
make your
gimmicky
grandmother
band.
cry.
The cheekiest band.
Ooh. You can take that a lot of different ways.
I'm down.
The
Well, I know,
most
but I feel like you could take
Christian band.
naughtiest. I feel like we could get into some trouble with that. I was trying to
V
like,
Let's get
naughty.
into trouble.
Get
I'm
in
down for
trouble.
All
That's-
right.
Yeah, get in trouble.
it. Yeah.
I
I'm
feel
down
like
for
we
it.
would be really good at the most Christian band. However you want to interpret that.
Ooh, that's a good one. I picked Michael Tate.
I would have guessed DC Talk at one point, and that definitely would not be the truth.
yeah. Listen, I have so
Christian
many
band.
DC Talk stories from people. I mean,
Oh yeah, I have some stories too.
You know what would be fun is if we got Max on and we did Kevin Max.
Oh, yeah.
and we did DC Talk. He hates talking about DC Talk. Like whenever we have him on, he's like, "No DC Talk," and then he's always the one that brings up DC Talk. But
Ain't
it'd
that
be
always the
funny if we said, "All right,
Let's only.
All right,
for one
let's-
night and one night only."
Kevin, we won't
Oh,
talk.
let's just
We
get it
won't
all
talk
out.
DC Talk. We'll talk decent Christian talk. Is what we'll talk.
There,
there
you
you
go.
go.
There you go, yeah.
There you go.
Well, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We'll see you on the flip side, and we got to do this.
Yeah,
again. This
let's
was
do it
fun.
again.
Yes.
So,
That was super
Yeah,
fun.
thank
you
you
so
for sharing all
much.
the lore.
Thanks.
Thank you.